All right, let's dive into a story that, on the surface, makes absolutely no sense. We're looking at a company called Syrma SGS, and their latest results have created a real puzzle in the electronics manufacturing world. It's a classic business paradox, and we're going to solve it together.
So, here's the central question, the big mystery we need to unpack. How on earth does a company's revenue, the total money coming in, drop by almost 20%, while its profit, what they actually get to keep, more than doubles? I mean, usually those two numbers move in the same direction. So what is going on here?
And here it is, laid out in black and white. You look at the left, revenue growth is negative 18%. That looks bad, right? But then you look to the right and profit growth is over 100%. That looks amazing. And no, this isn't a typo. This is actually the result of a very specific, very deliberate strategy.
To figure this out, we have to rewind a little bit. We need to understand what Syrma SGS actually does for a living, and more importantly, how they've been fundamentally changing their game plan. The entire answer to this paradox is hiding in that strategic shift.
Okay, so Syrma is in the business of making electronics. You can think of what they do as climbing a ladder of value. On the first rung, you've got PCBA. That's just putting all the tiny components onto a green circuit board. Take a step up, and you get to box build, where they take that finished board and put it inside the final product's casing. But the top rung, that's ODM, where they do the whole shebang, designing the product from the ground up for a client. And as you can probably guess, the higher you climb that ladder, the more money you make.
Now let's look at where Syrma used to be. Just last year, more than half of their business, a huge 54%, came from making consumer electronics. We're talking things like Wi-Fi routers. Now you sell a ton of these, so the revenue looks great, but the profit margins are notoriously paper thin. It's a high-volume, low-profit game.
And bam! Look at the picture today. That consumer slice of the pie has shrunk, all the way down to just 34%. And where did that business go? Well, it's been shifted over to much more profitable areas, like automotive and industrial electronics. This wasn't a mistake or a bad quarter. This was a conscious decision to chase better profits, not just bigger revenue.
So, now we have the key. We're ready to unlock the mystery of those crazy Q1 numbers. It turns out that this big strategic change in what they sell is the exact reason why their revenue and profit are telling two completely different stories.
Here's how they did it. First, they knowingly and purposefully cut back on that low-margin consumer business. Yep, that meant total revenue went down. But, and this is the crucial part, at the same time, they ramped up their high-margin business in other sectors. The secret sauce here is something called improving the product mix. It just means they're now making way more profit on every single rupee of sales. And the results? They are stunning. Their core profit margin, what's called EBITDA margin, literally doubled from about 5% to 10%. It was so good that the company actually had to raise its profit forecast for the rest of the year.
But, solving this Q1 puzzle is really just the beginning of the story. Syrma isn't just tweaking its business, it's planning a massive, game-changing leap into a whole new part of the manufacturing process. And this leap comes with a really, really big number attached to it. 1,800 crore rupees. That's how much they plan to invest in a brand new factory to make the printed circuit boards themselves. See, up until now, they've been putting components onto boards that other companies make. Now, they're getting into the business of making the boards. It is a huge move up the food chain.
So why are they so excited about this? Well, the numbers tell you everything you need to know. Their current business, even with all the recent improvements, pulls in about an 8 to 9% profit margin. This new PCB business is projected to run at 18 to 20% margins. We're talking more than double. It also promises much better returns on the money they invest, which is a huge deal for investors. Now, you got to be patient with this one. This isn't happening overnight. The project just got the green light. The first big chunk of money will be spent over the next few years, and we won't actually see them start selling these boards until late 2027 or even early 2028. So this is all about setting up for future growth, not an instant win.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've cracked the code on their current performance, and we've gotten a sneak peek at their massive plans for the future. So what does the road ahead really look like for Syrma?
So, despite that scary 18% drop in revenue in the first quarter, the company's leadership is not backing down one bit. They're sticking to their prediction of 30 to 35% revenue growth for the whole year. And you have to ask, how can they be so confident? Well, they're sitting on a massive pile of confirmed orders worth 5,500 crore rupees. The business is already there waiting for them,
Now it's just about getting it done.
You know, to really put Syrma in perspective, it helps to look at a competitor, like Kaynes Technology. Kaynes is growing even faster, and they're already a bit further ahead in making really complex stuff. Because of that, the market values Kaynes at about double what it values Syrma. It tells us that while Syrma's making all the right moves, it's still in the early innings of its transformation.
So the takeaway here is pretty clear. Syrma's big pivot, trading empty revenue for real profit, is absolutely working. The latest results prove the strategy is sound, but their journey is really just getting started. With a giant new factory to build and a huge list of orders to fulfill, the real challenge lies ahead. The ambition is there, the plan is there. Now it's all about execution.